I hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about the BRICS nations today. We're going to talk about 5 sectors that the U.S., 5 U.S. sectors that are going to be affected. And the title of the story actually says, if the BRICS nations, if the BRICS ditches the dollar for trade. Now, I have to tell you, before we even start the video, before we start this story, I'm going to tilt this up a little bit. They are ditching the dollar. We already see individual countries like Russia just announcing that they are no longer going to be selling dollar denominated oil. They're going to be selling their oil in other currencies. This is a very big deal. We've seen China, Saudi Arabia also announced it, right? They're being accepted into BRICS. These BRICS nations are independently getting out of the dollar. And this story is going to talk about if the BRICS ditch the dollar. They're already in the middle of it. They're already doing it. And what I want you to do is, as we talk about these 5 sectors, because it doesn't talk about real estate, it always comes down to real estate. Real estate will be affected. Why? Because as these other sectors go down, there'll be more layoffs because there's going to be less money in the system. On its most basic fundamental level, that is what's going to happen over time. Okay? And again, you're not supposed to be afraid of this bad news, because once you understand what the news represents and what it's doing to our nation, all you do is pivot, you move to position yourself to make gains. And that is what I want you to do. I want you to be making gains, whether that in 2024, you're buying property currently before it's really moving down in value. It's already moving down in value. The Federal Reserve has stated this. The median home price is dropping in our country. It has been all year. Whether you buy now, but you buy right, you buy smart, or you position yourself later for these future gains because you're going to buy the property at a lower price. Okay, so here we go. Again, out of Watcher Guru, 5 U.S. sectors to be affected if BRICS ditches the dollar for trade. It says the BRICS alliance is looking to suffocate the U.S. dollar by using local currencies to settle cross-border transactions. BRICS members, India, China, Russia, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia have already started using local currencies for international trade settlements. China and Russia are advancing in... Man, hold on. Sorry. I start talking, all of a sudden I need water. And great, I have no water. Here we go. This one's going to be interesting. Sorry if I'm choking through this. All right. It says here, China and Russia are advancing... It's like I'm going through puberty all again. Holy cow. China and Russia are international trade settlements. Sorry. Oh, gosh, I'm all thrown off now. See what happens when you're live and start choking on a dry mouth? China and Russia are advancing in... Holy cow. This sucks. This is what happens when you get live, people. I'm like Bill O'Reilly right now. We're going live. Stand by. Whew, the air is dry today. China and Russia are advancing in convincing other developing countries to follow suit and cut ties with the U.S. dollar. The move could be devastating to the U.S. economy, as America will find it hard to fund its deficit. So true. You know, we're seeing multiple bond auctions now with long tails. The government's trying to raise debt. The government is an eternal debt machine. The government is currently massively running out of people to sell its debt to. This is endgame. This is why we've been preparing. I hope you understand that. They're going to lie to you in the mainstream press that everything's okay. We're good. GDP is growing. Even though GDP is only growing because we're building ghost factories right now like China did a while back so that we can try and get those Taiwan semiconductor companies over here. Or it's growing because we're spending so much on wars around the world, proxy wars. All right? That's not a healthy economy. Okay? We're at endgame right now. And this isn't scary news. It's called the truth. And if the truth scares you, well then go get a safe space. But the truth also sets you free, because a wise man or woman takes the truth, heeds the truth, treats the truth as pure gold, and then does something about the truth. Okay? It says, if the U.S. fails to import the dollar, the currency will circulate back to the homeland and lead to inflation. 100% correct. That's why we know that the Federal Reserve is not done raising rates. They're going to lower for a little bit. It's a little fake out. anyone that has learned from me over the last, well, especially the last month where I've really been warning about it, a month prior to the Fed making that announcement, knows that this is just a little head fake. Don't fall for it. We're going to have a lot of really amazing opportunities in real estate and in all kinds of different sectors. But it says the move could make prices skyrocket, with housing, rent, and basic daily necessities will turn expensive and unaffordable. That actually part is not correct. Why do I know that? For certain. Because rents can only go up and house prices can only go up until people stop renting homes, and then the landlords are, crap, I gotta rent my house. So because I'm paying a mortgage, so I gotta lower it. And home sellers are like, crap, I gotta sell my house, so I gotta lower it. You see, it can only go up so much because wages are not keeping up with that type of inflation. However, like we saw in the 2006 housing bust, people would decide to stop paying their mortgage over stopping to pay their cell phone bill, their food bill, and their electricity. They will pay those three things before they will pay a mortgage or rent, especially if you live in a crazy state like California. Good news, I won't be here long. My point being is that you have to see these cycles. And just because it's said in the media doesn't mean it's always true. You have to think bigger. Remember, this news story about the Brics and about inflation was written by somebody that may not have the full grasp. Do I have the full grasp? Absolutely not. I'm learning every single day. And that's my goal for you. Especially, hey, if you're new to this channel, consider sticking around, because I think you're going to see some amazing things in 2024. I've already made some calls. We're going to see them come to pass, and it's going to be exciting. Now, remember, timing is very off, and this is where we're going to get into now. These 5 U.S. sectors. It says a total of 5 U.S. financial sectors could be affected of Brics stopping if Brics stops using the dollar for international trade. It really bugs me because ChatGPT is now writing a lot of these articles and it has some grammatical errors. So instead of, it says if. It should be if. The financial sectors that could begin to decline, including banking, foreign exchange, tourism, and production below, is the 5 sectors that will be impacted if the US dollar is not used for settlements amongst Brics members. So here we go. First one, banking and finance are going to be affected. Huge. Why? Because we are used to exporting inflation all around the world. When we no longer have foreign buyers of bonds, which are already happening in the last 6 months. It's been declining rapidly. Banking and finance will be affected. Technology and fintech. Absolutely will it be, because right now our companies actually sell a lot of trade secrets and things to China. You know, I think our president's involved with that. Point being is, only time is going to tell once we get to finally see what's on that laptop. But you're going to see a lot of change in that, okay? You're going to see international trade and investment, obviously, if they're not being done in the dollar. Consumer goods and retail is going to be affected because why? If they're not accepting the dollar for trade, if they ditch the dollar, we're going to have to go and buy. Companies will have to go buy their currencies and buy their currencies. It's going to be a mess. And then travel and tourism. So remember, all those 5 sectors that are going to be affected, what's going to happen is one big blow is going to be layoffs, mass layoffs. Now, the Brics nations are getting so big. As of right now, their total GDP combined comes to, I think, 42% of the world's GDP. Okay, this is very serious. There are a lot of people in America that would rather hide their heads in the sand like an ostrich or go watch a football game than understand how big of a deal this is and sit back and get ready. This is why this is exciting times, because you have very little competition if you're getting ready. It says here, first and foremost, and I'll just go over the banking sector one. The banking and financial sector will be hit the hardest as foreign exchanges will begin to decline. Secondly, Brics is looking to create their own internet services and not dependent on American technology for news and social media. Thirdly, foreign investors will stay away from the US dollar as the debt crisis and deficit will only worsen. So here's the point. This is big news, and I think it's really exciting. If you're in one of these positions, you need to start to take into consideration how your job will be affected. Can AI take over your job? There's a lot of people right now, and I'll give you an example. Even in the trades, there are people that think they're super safe. I just saw a robot plaster a wall using artificial intelligence to learn where it is in the room. It walked up and it taped and mudded an entire room all by itself. Even plaster tradesmen are going to be in trouble. what's coming. It's absolutely insane. So you need to take account of that. You need to look at getting a side hustle. You need to diversify your cash flow, your income, not just a one job, maybe possibly a couple, but you need to become even more dependent. And the easiest way right now to make money in this world is to think differently. Think differently than the masses. The masses are running headlong into this. And that's not my dream for you. In 2024, I believe that you're going to become more successful than you've ever been. This is your time to shine. Why? Because you're thinking different. If you think different, you swim across up the river of when everyone else is going the other direction, you will always win. And remember, that especially reigns true for the housing market. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you so much for watching. The Real Estate Ninja is out.